There's something as basic as disposable adult briefs for incontinence, and most of us refer to them in the generic as Depends, which is probably the most popular brand. But there is something out there now in the market to do before you throw away those disposable adult briefs, and that is something that's a little technical here. And I have with me the CEO of Pixie Scientific, Yaroslav Faybishanko. Tell me a little bit about the patch that you have on your briefs.
The smart panel that we have uses traditional dry reagent technology that's colorimetric, similar to what's found on common urinalysis strips. We've had to solve a number of technical challenges to integrate it into diapers, namely the stability of the reagents and the resulting dyes, because in our product they have to last for multiple hours as the person wears them. On the traditional urinalysis strip, the colors are typically stable for just a few minutes, so we've had some technical challenges there. And the other part of the technology here is the automated reading of the results. When the reagents react with analyte in urine, they change color, and the user, who would be the caregiver or a nurse of somebody likely with dementia who's incontinent, which is 90% of the dementia sufferers, unfortunately, would use a smartphone with our app to scan the front of the diaper. They could do this in just a few seconds, taking the phone from a card or from their back pocket, and the scanned image would go to our cloud, where the image is normalized for lighting conditions, and the color values are translated into numerical values, and then we would pick up conditions such as urinary tract infections and dehydration.
And that, I mean, how immediate is it? It goes up in the cloud, and let's say it says, oh, geez, this person's really dehydrated. How quickly does it get back to the caregiver?
So we're not picking up significant dehydration, such as when a person has rotavirus and has diarrhea and is throwing up. We're looking for trends in the person's hydration status. And so after a few days, we would say, this is really heading in the wrong direction here. You really need to intervene. First step, you might want to try to give the person a cup, really insist on additional hydration. Just leaving cups around the assisted living facility, which is what a lot of nurses do now, it's not working. This is really longitudinal monitoring that we're talking about for hydration. UTI is something that we would pick up on one scan.
Right. And then, have you worked out all the kinks with this now that you were talking about with the color, bleeding, and that kind of thing? Is that all?
So we are finishing up work on one of the remaining reagents, but more or less so, and we are starting a study in several assisted living facilities. Right now, we've begun to receive informed consent forms back from families.
Okay. And besides dehydration and urinary tract infections, are there any other things that could that this could track?
Yes. So we have a vision of creating a product that actively monitors for signs of onset of chronic conditions or acceleration of their progression, and also nutritional indicators. There are problems with this population, such as osteoporosis, chronic kidney disease, diabetes, that we aim to cover with really a focus on staying true to what you can see this product as now, which is a product that is really unobtrusive. It stays silent most of the time. Doesn't give you any spurious data that you don't know what to do with, but it gives you an alert when it believes that there is an action to be taken.
Well, so you said having to sign a consent form, but if the person's already living in a skilled nursing facility,
Yes.
a memory care
Yeah.
facility, they're under the care of them, and it behooves the resident, it behooves the provider, it behooves the family to have this on there. So why would you need a consent?
Yes, so we are a class 1 medical device. Majority of the reagents actually do not traditionally require clinical data. However, we are using novel technology, and the FDA has leeway when the product uses novel technology to require a clinical data set. So while we're ready to supply the analytical data from our laboratory tests, we need to acquire some clinical data. And so we're doing this pilot study now and would like to do a larger one in the fall.
So it's a consent to be in the study, not a consent
Yes.
to wear it. So once you're through all the approvals, in a nursing home, you're not going to need anyone's consent.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know, can you guess, how much this one, like a package of 30 would cost of Depends versus a package of 30 of yours?
Sure. So we have done a survey of assisted living facilities, a couple of nursing services where they send nurses to the homes and also families. And they're willing to pay about $1.50 extra per day for the feature of screening for urinary tract infections on demand. So that adds up to about $500 a year extra on top of the cost of incontinence products.
But just for urinary tract, or urinary tract and dehydration?
So
That's a
we've
separate-
asked, what's more important? Urinary tract infections have come out at the top.
Right.
However, we really think hydration is quite important. I mean, everybody said they're still important, but nobody said they're more important. Nobody said the hydration monitoring is more important than UTI.
Right.
It's actually typically commonly found together. People with UTI, even though they have dementia, they're often refusing liquids because they understand that when they urinate, it's quite painful as well. So most people that eventually visit ER for UTI, they're found to be dehydrated as well.
So that's, okay. That makes a lot of sense. When do you think you're going to roll it out?
Sure.
Without signed consents.
So we'd love to do the larger study where we collect data for clearance by the FDA in the fall. That would be several hundred, around 300 residents. So we're now looking for additional assisted living facilities to sort of line up to join that larger study. And we think that we could submit that data relatively quickly.
And you're not making the adult diaper. You're just taking a Depends and then putting your.
So we're making the smart panel ourselves.
Right, and you're just slapping that on an existing.
It's more than slapping
I know,
on, but
I call it.
it's a process.
It's a
Yeah.
process. Okay.
And
All right.
so manufacturing is part of our intellectual property.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know. To me, it seems like in the future, it seems like a no-brainer. So once you get through all the testing and get the approvals, I don't see why every provider wouldn't be rolling it out. I mean, it's not expensive, and it can prevent a lot of more costly poor outcomes. So good luck with the rollout, and we'll be keeping track of you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Yaroslav.